All right, so here's some part numbers for you. First of all, the belt tensioner. This belt tensioner is a counterclockwise tension on it. Okay, I did have a little trouble finding that. If you go to 1990 Dodge and you say, 5.9 Cummins, they're going to give you a tensioner, but the problem is that it tightens clockwise. So I had to do a little research. Hopefully this will help you out. It will. This will tighten counterclockwise for you. This has a smooth pulley on it. You can get a different pulley, the V rib or the V belt, not the V belt. The Serpentine Belt pulley goes on there if you need to swap that out if you have a different belt configuration. But that's working fine. The part number for that is a Gates 38285. I did get this at O'Reilly's. I got most of my parts at O'Reilly's. They really helped me out a lot. The Serpentine Belt is a 6 rib, okay? The one I've got on here is it's a Master Pro KO60882. It's 13/16 by 88 7/8 OC. That's kind of got me going here. Now what I'm going to probably do is the next belt I get, I'm going to probably jump up to an 89 inch. That's going to let this belt tensioner just relax just a little bit more. I think take a little bit more pressure off of the belt. But besides that, I think it'll be fine. Just remember that this belt tensioner is made for an 8 rib belt. So that's my only way of thinking is, maybe with the 6 rib that it may have a little bit too much tension on that belt. So I'm going to probably jump up to a 89 inch. That'll let this relax a little bit more, put a little bit less pressure on the belt, and then I've still got plenty of room for that to cam down just a little bit more to get that where I need it to be. So far everything's working. The vehicle's charging. It's probably one of the simplest things that you can do. Basically it's a plug and play on the alternator. Just extend your alternator wires. The AC compressor is going to be plug and play. Just extend the wires. And a lot of the sensors you can just cut off. So the only sensors that I'm using is number one is the one that I've got in the back of the head. It's going to be a 1 wire. Okay, that's going to be your temperature sensor for your gauge in your gauge cluster panel. Okay, that'd be the most important that you use. Number 2 is going to be oil pressure sender, which I've showed you that in the previous video. It goes directly. I didn't even have to shorten that wire. It was plug and play right on the driver's side, which is located right down here by the fuel pump. Okay. Then the only thing new that you're going to have to put in, you're going to have to run you some new wires up to your sensor for your fans. Okay. And then you've got one thing that I do not have hooked up is going to be the this wire right here. Okay. That's going to be for your tachometer. All right, so I'm doing a little research and finding out I might be able to use this alternator to make that work, and just have to take it apart and then hook in a wire to sense that. If not, then I'll have to get it's a little deal you can get from Summit that will actually change it over, and then that way we can get the tach working in the dash. Okay, so air conditioner lines, real important. Right quick, this is the new setup. Okay, I've already been to the air conditioner shop asking them some questions. They said no problem. So basically this is going to be my line that comes from my dryer, which is right here. Basically going to have them come off. We're going to come right around the back side and then change this. They're going to be able to brazen me a new fitting and turn it whatever angle I need. So it's going to be a lot shorter hose than what the Chevrolet 350 hose is. This line right here is going to be turned a little bit. It's going to go to the front of my condenser, which sits in the front of the vehicle, and then I'm going to have a complete system, and then the return line goes back as well. So now remember this is that when you're dealing with air conditioning, since you're shortening up the lines, you're going to have to reduce some of your freon level. All right, so this system here is a 134R, and all we have to do is just compensate. You're going to have to use some gauges to make sure that you're good, to make sure that we don't over pressurize and put too much freon in the system. You put too much freon in the system, it's going to lessen the cooling factor. So keep that in mind when you're doing it. Like I said the other night, we took it for the first test drive. It was dark. I didn't videotape it, but I will videotape the next one as we fire this bad boy up. The only thing else I got to do is get on eBay, Got to get my oil fill cap. It goes on there. I am going to make a bracket, probably going to come directly off the head here, which is going to support this just a little bit more, just kind of keep it from vibrating. Besides that, everything is working like it should. Very happy with it. We just need to do some finalization on some of the wiring harness. I'm still cleaning that up. And the only other thing that we're going to do is hooking up the air conditioning to the cooling fans. Okay, what we're going to do is find the air conditioning wire, which is this one right here. I think this is, no, that's not it. It's going to be AC clutch. That's the one you want to look at. Okay, AC clutch. What you're going to do is this green wire is a power wire. Okay, we're going to use this as our trigger wire for our relay. We're going to tap into this right here. Okay, and we're going to mount another relay located right here. Okay, and what that's going to do is we're still going to wire this fans up through this relay, but instead of using a ground, which is on our sensor here to trigger the relay to energize your fans, we're going to use this green wire, which is going to be a power wire. All you have to do is just reverse a wire on that relay. So when you hit, not this one, how about this one right here? When you hit your air conditioner button inside your truck, okay, it's going to energize your clutch. It's going to make your clutch turn. Once you do that, it's going to then energize your relay, and then that's going to kick your fans on. These fans are awesome. They push a lot of air, and it's going to really, I think, really increase the cooling factor of your air conditioner system, especially if you do a lot of driving in town or, you know, low speed. So it's going to be very efficient. Probably going to get 100% of your cooling factor out of your air conditioning unit on your truck. All right. One more thing I'm going to point out too. This happened just before we took off the other night. This little piece right here, for some reason, I was hooking up the cable, and I was tightening up this right here. This here snapped right in two. So my MIG welder's kind of been messing up on me. So what I did was I brazed it, put a braze on both sides of that. It worked great. So maybe just keep an eye on this. We did take this apart here. There's an Allen head that fits right here. You unscrew this, you can take this whole thing off. We put a little grease in there just to kind of lube that up before we reinstall this, and it works fine. So you just works just like it should. So all right, I think I've touched on pretty much everything for today. Power steering is working great. Brakes are working great. One thing to remember is once you put in a new system like we've done, you got a lot of air in the system, and you got a lot of air in your hydro boost and also down in your steering gearbox. What you want to do is jack the front of the vehicle up. You want to get inside with the vehicle not running and just turn your steering wheel far left, far right, far left, far right, all the way to it stops. Do that about 5 or 6 times. Pump your brakes about 3 or 4 times, and do that multiple times, over and over again, probably around 20 times. What that's going to do, that's going to automatically bleed your hydro boost system. You're going to need to keep an eye on your fluid because it's going to be pushing all of the air out. And then once you do that, then you can start the vehicle. Probably do the same thing a few more times, and you're good to go. Power steering works awesome. Power brakes, or the brake booster, works awesome. No issues whatsoever on the braking or steering on this. So far, good project. A lot of time involved, some kind of headaches, some trying to figure things out, kind of working through a lot of stuff. I hope that I've given you guys all the information I can to make your project go a little bit better. One more thing, the exhaust manifold. On the Chevrolet K1500, you do not need to get any other exhaust manifold besides the factory exhaust manifold that has the rear dump on it. Okay, I thought I was going to have to get a different one, maybe, you know, Dodge out of the 5.9, cut the ends off, braze them up to move it out here, which you can move your turbo up here a little bit better, a little bit more out of the way. But I'm telling you what, that's about as good as it gets right there. As in for clearance, as in for a nice tight fit. Don't have any issues with it hitting the firewall. That header wrap works awesome. And transmission dipstick is, you do have to tweak that just a little bit to get away from your exhaust pipe, but no issues whatsoever, especially with that exhaust wrap on there. So Air cleaner is working good, no issues there. What is really cool is this, with this type of air cleaner, especially in the open location like that, you do have, here's your fresh air inlet. I'm going to probably widen this open just a little bit more than that way. This air cleaner is going to be sitting right next to the fender well. It can suck in some fresh air, cool air, and then also you probably build your little shield around there if you wanted to make that even more efficient. But it's very nice. I'm going to make a little bracket for it right here. I'm going to probably take a piece of 3-inch pipe, cut it off, and make a little saddle, and that way it'll sit perfectly just like that and not be rubbing on anything. So that works out great. The turbo, this HX30W, man, it has a great sound to it. It has a nice whistle to it, and then once you punch the throttle on it, RPMs come up, you let off the throttle, and then you hear your oh, I can't even think, your exhaust wastegate open up, and then you get that you just get that nice diesel effect coming off of that because it's building so much boost inside your air charge line. So sounds great. It is a little loud, especially with just the running straight down pipe, but we're getting ready to get the exhaust completely done. I'm going to probably do that myself. I'm going to be probably ordering another 3-inch 90 mandrel bend, and instead of coming out on the very back of the truck where the tailpipe comes in, I'm going to probably come out just above, just right in front of the rear wheel. So hope that works out good. I think it should. So it's been a great project. Been a great project to do, and hope that helps. All right, so now what I've done is I went ahead and wired up my AC compressor. So when my AC clutch power tells the AC clutch to engage, it also is going to turn on my cooling fans at the same time. All right, so this is what I've done is this wire right here, the green wire on the clutch connector, I tapped into that, okay? And I tapped into it back here on the firewall, right back in here. That's this green wire, runs up and then comes out right here by my relays, okay? This is gonna be 12 volts. When my AC compressor is supposed to engage the clutch, 12 volts is going to come down this wire right here, okay? I just have it sitting here for demonstration right now. So, but what I've done is one fan relay, number 2 fan relay, and then this is a relay to ground, okay? I've got it wired up somewhat similar, but just reverse on that third one, just because the sending unit for the coolant is a ground. So once that grounds, then it engages both of my fans at the same time. But this relay, it's an identical relay. Get them at O'Reilly for $5. All you do is kind of reverse the flow on that, on the electrical to ground side, okay? So we've got a ground coming in here, and I've got another ground coming out, which goes to my fender well, the white wire. And then I just have this little short jumper wire right here. It just goes to the other side of that. So got ground coming in, the breaker, and then another connection here. When this 12 volts, I'm going to use this jumper wire. I'm going to touch the battery with it. I'm going to show you what this is supposed to do when the AC clutch kicks in. Once I get power on this, which is going to be this green wire again, okay? Just once I touch this, it's going to make the connection and make that ground. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for you. So I'm just going to touch the battery here. That's going to be that. Back on. Off. Back on. That's basically what your AC compressor is going to be doing. Going to be kicking on and off, and as it does that, it's going to make everything work. Now at the same time, when the sending unit reaches at 200 degrees and calls for the fans, it makes a ground, okay? Then it does the same thing and it's all three of them are kind of used at one time, and then they all work together. Pretty cool. Thought you guys would like to see it.